Oh, look, it's Tiffany. Yes. All right, good. Well, let's start by introducing ourselves. Would you like to go first?
I will. My name is Evan Boucher. I'm a junior in computer science from Saxe-Baja, North Carolina. That's 20 minutes outside of Chapel Hill, west. If anyone knows where that is?
Sure.
Oh, there's one. Wow.
Good. It's a very small town. I am really involved with the community. I really love pretty much everything that happens here. I love to start clubs and help people start clubs. I'm really involved with music. I love music production, teaching guitar, all these sorts of things. And I work at the radio station as well. So a lot of experience with that. And yeah.
Okay. You need to work on that.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, I'm Michelle Phillips. I'm a junior in mechanical engineering with a minor in business. And some of the things I'm from right outside of Winston-Salem in Davie County. And some of the things I'm involved in on campus. Anyone heard of the Krispy Kreme Challenge?
Yeah.
Anyone who hasn't, think it's a good idea to run 2.5 miles, eat a dozen donuts, and then run back the 2.5 miles? Well, we had 8,000 people do that on NC State's campus about a month ago. So I'm involved in that as well. I studied abroad last summer in China through the mechanical engineering department. And then my, career aspirations are to be an amusement ride designer. So I actually competed in Disney's design competition last fall, and we were able to place semi-finalists, just decimal points away from the finalist round. And I'm actually interviewing with Universal Studios next week for a corporate internship as well.
That's cool. I learned something about the Krispy Kreme Challenge last week. I was in the Philippines last week with a couple of other faculty members, one from textile engineering and one from environmental engineering, whose specialty is waste, let's just say. And he was, this is related, trust me. He and his graduate students were studying infectious disease transmission for like bird flu and things like that. So he said he has a graduate student that, have you had breakfast? He has a graduate student that studies patterns of throw up. Okay? And the graduate student went to the Krispy Kreme Challenge to do research.
I told you it didn't sound like a good idea.
I just thought that was just about the coolest thing. Talk about taking advantage. Anyway, my name is Laura Bottomley. I am a professor in electrical engineering. I'm also a professor in elementary education, and if they make another degree that has double E for its abbreviation, I'll do that too. But it's a long story as to why I'm doing both of those things, but suffice to say our elementary education requirements included the class in engineering that I teach. So it's an interesting. So, welcome to NC State. Do you have a message to convey? You can't have it. Oh, all right, just check in, making sure. So we have 12 different departments in our College of Engineering here, which is actually really nice. And you'll learn why that's really nice in a few minutes. But in those 12 different departments, there are 18 or 19 different degrees. I thought 19, Brian last time said 18, we'll see. I'll go back and count again, but by the time you come, maybe it'll be 20. Lots of choices. Now, why is it so nice to have lots of different departments in a College of Engineering? Because if you are statistically accurate, about half of you, and those of you that are standing back, please do not hesitate to come down and sit down. We teach college, and we're used to people just eating, walking, getting up and walking out, whatever. Although if you bring Chick-fil-A to my class, you have to bring enough for everything. But other than that, about half of you think you want to be an engineer, but you're just not sure which kind of engineering you want to go into. And of the half of you that are sure you know which kind of engineering you want to go into, about half of you are going to change your mind. So, why is it nice to have this many different departments? Because there are lots of opportunities for you, lots of places that you can slot in. This time in your life, when you're looking at colleges, or whether you're a parent and your child is looking at colleges, can be stressful. I'm a mom of 2 college students, so I've sat there and I can't think about 2 months where I start crying. 2 years ago, when my son was, or when my daughter was looking at colleges, I started crying every time I gave an info session. It was embarrassing. But the point is, what you need to do is to find a place where you feel at home and where you have the opportunity to pursue your passion. Because again, if you're typical, you're looking for some place and something that you can study that you will enjoy, where you can make a difference in the world. Well, NC State has a lot of opportunities for you to do that. And when people come to me as a freshman and say, I don't know what kind of engineering I want to go into, I say, just relax. What you need to do is find out what gets you excited. What problems in the world make you passionate? Are you really interested in figuring out how to help with the problem of not enough clean water in the world, which is one of the problems that I saw in the Philippines last week? If you are, then maybe you're interested in studying chemical engineering or biological engineering or environmental engineering. Or maybe you're really interested in finding sources of alternative fuels. Well, then maybe you're interested in studying electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, material science, biological, and nuclear, why do I always forget nuclear? And mechanical. Lots of opportunities there. You see what I'm saying? So your job is to find out what gets you excited. Our job is to show you all the different things that you can get excited about. Then we'll figure out where to put you so that you can pursue that passion. You told a nice story last time about that. You want to tell your story?
Sure, yeah. So in high school, I was one of those kids that was telling everyone, oh, I know exactly what I want to do. And it wasn't in engineering. It was actually, I wanted to be an orthodontist. And I actually had it planned out to the T. I knew I wanted to go to UNC. I knew how long I was going to go to school. I found ways to get the money. I planned it out. I knew what hospital I wanted to go to. It was actually a hospital where I was born in Ohio. I knew someone who was a doctor there. And long story short, I came here as a biochemistry major with the intent to go into pre-med. And I started talking and meeting other engineers who were, talking about all the jobs they had, how much fun it was, and also how much work it was. And it was kind of one of those things like, well, I'm really good at chemistry. I'm also really interested in technologies, but I've always wanted to be a doctor, and I've always wanted just to help people. So when I came here, I took a programming class. I was like, well, I have to anyway. Might as well take one that I think would be interesting. So I took Java, and I absolutely loved it. It was the funnest class I've ever taken in my entire life. And I met an upperclassman in that class who was the TA, and he was telling me about all the cool projects he got to do, and how last week he built an app to sort numbers. The stupidest thing in the world, I think about. You don't need to sort numbers, but he could enter an entire list of over 10,000 different numbers, and it would sort it in almost 10 seconds. And that was so simple, but that was it. Like, I want to be able to sit down on my laptop and do that. I then started talking to people with the academic advising. They're like, yeah, you can switch. Yeah, you can do that. That's fine. Like, let's start now. And so I actually didn't switch into computer science until my 4th semester here. So it was really late. A lot of my mom and my dad were like, you're not going to be on track. Like, I'm not paying for the extra semester. It's a good thing I got the pre-med. I already got that money, figured out. But it wasn't the case at all. I'm going to set to graduate in 4 years, and coming from a completely different college. So it's very possible, and it's something that I'm so glad I made that decision and discovered that.
We get a lot of questions about what's the minimum SAT, what's the minimum grade point average, et cetera, et cetera. The answer to that question is there are no minimums. No minimum? I don't know, whatever the Latin means. In any case, we will admit about 1,300 freshmen. We get about 6,000 applications for those slots. The middle 50% range of the SAT, and that's just the critical reading plus the math score, and the middle 50% range of the grade point average are what you see there. It doesn't mean you're required to have those. It means, though, that if you're in those slots or above those slots, you're probably in pretty good shape. So obviously, you want to do the best that you possibly can. Maybe you take the SAT again or something like that if you need to, but give it the best shot that you possibly can. Then once you get here, you are actually admitted into the engineering first year program. And you sometimes specify an intent as to which department you're interested in, but you're still in the engineering first year program. You're not actually in that department. We want you to take the freshman first year classes. Those that are listed there are the ones that we particularly look at. And then after you've completed those classes, then you apply to change into the degree of your choice. And it's competitive. If you have a 2.0 grade point average or above, you will get into one of them. It just may not be your first choice. How competitive they are varies according to what people are interested in. Right now, the most popular departments are mechanical and biomedical, and so they're the most competitive to get into. But people get into them, right? Might as well be you. Just means you need to stay on your game, okay? You'll get into a department. But remember the comments that I made before about you need to understand what your passion is? There are multiple ways to get to an end. So that's where academic advising also comes in. There are multiple departments that you can go into. So that means you have a valid first, second, third choice. And you'll get into a department that'll help you get to where you want to be. Not a problem. You put too many times. Just checking. This might be your first semester's worth of courses. It will not look strange to you, I suspect. Introductory chemistry. E115 is how to use your laptop on campus. It's not related to engineering. It's just how to make sure your firewall's set and all that kind of stuff. It's important, but it's not an engineering class. E101 is your first introduction to engineering and problem solving class. It's one of the classes that I teach, and these two have actually co-taught it as well. It's the class where we're trying to sort of get you oriented to what engineering is. Now you say to me, well look, I'm applying in engineering. I know what engineering is. I don't need a class in that. But you don't know what I think engineering is, right? And so you do need a class in that. You also need a class where you get started practicing the engineering design process as we teach it here at NC State University. You need a class where you get to actually do your first semester-long design project on a design team. Some of them will actually remain your friends for the rest of your time here at State, and some of them not. But that's how teamwork works. So you may choose to build a hovercraft. You might build a bubble blowing machine. I had an idea for a project the other day. I don't remember what it was.
You build a roller coaster.
Yeah, the roller coaster would be, it's too easy though. We make these hard. I'm just saying. A fountain. We've had some teams make some really beautiful fountains, and one of my teams in my class sold their fountain at Freshman Design Day for $200.
Wow.
A couple years ago. Wow, very nice. Yeah. They came to me and just sold our fountain. It was pretty cool. At the end of that semester, we have a Freshman Design Day, which is like a science fair on steroids, I guess. There are competitions that the hovercraft races take place that day and all that kind of thing. And parents are specifically invited. It's the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. Put it on your calendar in case your kids don't tell you what it is. But it gives you, and you want your parents to come to that day because it will stop them from asking you 6 million questions when you come home for Thanksgiving about what you've been doing this semester. So it's a win-win situation, trust me. Any transfer students in here? Anybody that might be transferred? So transfer students have a little bit different requirements because you come in directly to a department. So we want you to have taken those beginning classes before you arrive, and have a particular GPA depending on your major. As long as you've got a 3.0 or above, then you're going to get into a major without any problem. Alice, since you're standing there, do you have any comments you'd like to make about transfer students?
I'm Alice Worley. I used to be a transfer advisor. I'm currently the director of enrollment management. But yes, we love transfer students. You just need to make sure you have those requirements. It's a very different admission process, so it's an alternate path. Some of you who are thinking of coming into NC State as a freshman, either in engineering or you just don't know, you can come as a transfer. You can go off to another school, you could go to a community college. It's just, think of it as an alternate path. So, we don't care what you made in your high school GPA or your SAT score, ACT score, you just have to have those requirements. And if you have those, then pretty much we'll take you. So, it's a good thing to know it's an alternate path. Keep that in the back of your mind.
My son did this. He wanted to play varsity sports. And so he went to Methodist University, played soccer for 2 years, and then transferred here because ultimately he wanted to be an engineer. So he got the best of both worlds through that process.
Thanks, Alice.
Just standing there at the right time. Please.
And so there are a lot of options academically outside of engineering. So let's say you have an interest in maybe a language or in another major like chemistry or biology, but you're not really invested enough to do a full another major. You just want to take a couple classes. A minor might be a great option for you. I have a minor in business. I really like business practices and how engineering applies to the real world. How does it sell to the consumer? How do you make a value from engineering design? And so I'm taking 5 business classes that are part of my minor, and it's a great kind of complement to my degree so that out in the real world, I may want to get an MBA down the road, and at least I have a background in business. And so choices people have, Evan's in cognitive science is one of his minors. Languages like Chinese, Japanese, Spanish, things like that. So a minor is a great way to kind of get an added value to your degree.
In addition, it sometimes happens that you're not exactly sure. You really like engineering, but you also really enjoy political science or literature or something like that, and so you're kind of split. The Benjamin Franklin Scholars Program might be something that's for you. This is a program where you get 2 degrees. You get a degree in engineering and you get a degree in a humanities and social science curriculum as well. So you get advisors at both degrees and you graduate with them. So it's kind of a nice option.
So does it take longer?
Yes, it does. It takes about a year longer. Some other programs that you might be interested in, the University Honors Program and the University Scholars Program. But Michelle, I actually would rather you told about this anyway, since you sure it is one.
So I'm in the University Honors Program and know a lot about both programs. So the University Honors Program is centered around the idea of creating knowledge in your discipline. So we've been reading from textbooks our whole life. Well, someone else discovered that knowledge. So a lot of honors students get involved in research. They get involved in different design projects, things like that. So this program is centered around your 4 honor seminars that you take, which are taught by professors on subjects that they want to teach about and they couldn't necessarily teach in a normal class setting. So someone from the Department of Philosophy comes in and they teach a time travel class every semester, and that counts as your philosophy credit. I took Haunted America Literature and read about ghost stories and the progression into horror films now, instead of taking like a basic lit class. So it's a great option to kind of get more additional liberal arts breadth. As well, the honors program ends in a capstone project, and your engineering design project, if you slightly modify it, can count as that capstone project. In addition, also we have the Scholars Program. The Scholars Program is all about cultural breadth and kind of getting additional knowledge. So they bring in speakers in different events they have. They get tickets to the orchestra. They take different trips. I think every year in the fall they go to New York City, as well as they have a spring break trip. This year they went to Costa Rica. And that program is centered around taking 12 honors sections of courses, so like honors calculus, honors chemistry, things like that. And both of these programs have their own villages where you can live with other students in those programs.
Have the deadlines for those passed already, both of those?
I believe so. However, you can transfer into them when you're here. Scholars may not be passed, but I know honors is passed.
So you can enter those programs as a freshman.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And the way to get into those programs would be to talk to the, I guess, staff of those programs, and they're actually here today. So I would go find either the University of Honors program or Scholars program if you'd like to figure out how to get into those.
Honors is in EV2, the other wing.
And I think Scholars is right next to them.
Some other opportunities that you have here. We have a lot of students that participate in undergraduate research, which is a really good idea. Where you're sitting right now, you may think, I'm not going to graduate school. Are you kidding? Well, take advantage of the opportunity to participate in some undergraduate research, and then you may find out that, oh gosh, that's really interesting. Look at what you get to do in the research lab with engineering. You get to develop new materials that are used in wound care. So for example, one of the faculty that I'm aware of in textile engineering is developing, you know how when you put a Band-Aid on, it's supposed to absorb whatever, right, and then keep it clean and keep it. The problem with Band-Aids is that if you leave them on, the skin gets macerated, you get this wrinkly stuff where the Band-Aid was, right? That's not optimal in terms of wound care. And if you had a really bad wound, that could actually lead to scarring and inefficient healing. So they're working in textile engineering, and some undergraduates are working with this to help to develop a better thing to use than a Band-Aid, some substance that absorbs liquids, but also allows breathability and doesn't macerate the skin. So imagine getting to do that as an undergraduate student. Imagine getting to do research with a nuclear reactor as a freshman. These opportunities exist here at NC State University. We're the only university in the nation that has 2 National Science Foundation-sponsored engineering research centers. And both of those centers are required to hire undergraduates to do research as a part of their award.
And let me tell you what, undergraduate research is also a great way to find out what you don't want to do. I started out in biomedical engineering, and freshman year I got involved in a lab that was doing really cool work. They were turning stem cells from fat tissue into bone tissue. Amazing stuff, right? It was about a year into working in the lab that I realized I really don't like biology. So I'm glad I figured out early on that I could switch into mechanical engineering. So it's a great way to get real life experience while as an undergrad during the school year.
This is actually a little known fact. You think that you're trying to figure out what you want to do in your life. You're actually trying to figure out what you don't want to do. Right? That's actually more valuable information. And do they need donations at that place?
We get ours from UNC.
Oh, no, for just check it.
We let them deal with all the medical hospitals.
We have also a lot of opportunities for study abroad, alternative spring break trips, that kind of thing. You need, if you have never left this country, you need to leave this country as an undergraduate student. You need to see what the rest of the world is like, while you don't care whether you have a hot shower or not. It's really important that you should do that. When I was in the Philippines last week, the only question that I wanted to ask at the hotel was, do you have Western-style toilets? That was my only requirement, but you know, as an undergraduate, I was less. Did you know in Japan they have heated toilets? Probably didn't know that.
They didn't have it in China.
Well, I didn't know that before I got to Japan. Very interesting. All the things you can learn when you leave the country. These are very important. More opportunities? Okay, I wish you would do it. Why don't you just do it?
Okay, so professional development is a huge thing here. We have the 2nd largest co-op in the nation, and everyone kind of have a basic idea of what a co-op is. I'll tell you. A co-op is where you, a 3-semester plan, well, 6 semesters, but 3 working semesters, where you'll work for a semester, go to school for a semester, work for a semester, so forth for an entire year. They'll actually add a year onto your program. But the money you're making at that co-op is enough to really pay for that extra year. The benefits of a co-op are amazing. Every time you go back to the company, you're in a new sector, you're in a new part. If you are in a part and you're like, I really hate what I'm doing right now, I would love to do something else, the company is willing to work with you because they want you to have that experience. They want you to come back to this place because they're training you, they're paying you, they're investing their time, their money, and efforts into you so that you are more willing to come back to them. And actually, 70% of all co-ops actually end in a full-time offer. And also, I think it's 70% are within 50 miles of this campus. I think that's the statistic. So that means while you're a co-op student, you're still a full-time student. You can still have a house plan, you can still have a meal plan, you can still go to all the football games, go to the gym, be a part of clubs, you name it, you can still do it. And I think that it's a great program to take advantage of. The Career Development Center here is awesome. They have a lot of opportunities for helping you, improve your interviewing skills, communication skills, resume workshops. You name it, if you need it, they'll do it for you and they'll help you with it. The career fair here is the second largest career fair in the nation. In the fall, we have over about 300 companies that come. These companies actually pay a pretty good chunk of money to come here and actually pay us more money, which is impressive and really speaks to the quality of the education that you're going to get here. I know last spring when I went to the career fair, Cisco Systems actually asked for me by name. They had found my resume through the EPAC system and wanted to speak with me. They actually gave me 4 interviews. I got all 4 jobs. I could actually pick between 4 jobs at the same company. That's a huge opportunity. I went back this past fall, such success, why not again? I went back and I actually spoke with the National Security Agency. They've now offered me 3 conditional job offers and are flying me out next week for a 2-day trip to their headquarters, all expenses paid. I know it sounds luxurious, but it won't be. And I get to do a 2 days of processing, which I'm really excited for, but also kind of nervous for, because it's something I've always wanted to do, and work for the government, specifically in national security. So I think I've accomplished my dreams, and I know you guys can too.
Name dropping. These are just a few of the companies, and literally the spots in our career fair fill up a month after we open up registration for the career fair. We have people calling and we have to turn them down because we just don't have enough room. Is anybody in here, did you come, anybody come to the career fair? Yes, that's very good. It's hot, it's crowded, it's sweaty, it's exciting, because those people are there looking for you. They are fighting each other to hire you. That's pretty darn good, right? And we get people from Clemson and Duke and UNC coming here to our career fair because they know that we have so many people that are interviewing here. It's a pretty good deal. Yeah, I think you said that. Yeah.
It's the numbers that go with it.
The numbers there. Now, so far, you've been hit with all of the advantages of coming to a very large university, very large college of engineering. Well, I sometimes talk to people who are thinking about, I'm nervous about coming to a large college. I'd rather go to someplace that's very small. It's our job in academic affairs to make this place seem like a small college to you. We are a family. Once you come and join us, we are interested in your success. Actually, we're interested in your success even if you don't come, but we'd like you to do it here. We want you to graduate. We want you to graduate, make a lot of money, and donate it back. Oh, no.
Working on it.
Sorry, I went to this. No, seriously. One of the ways in which this becomes a small place for you is you get connected. There are a million extracurricular activities here. I strongly encourage you to join the professional society that goes with your particular degree. So if you're in electrical, you might join IEEE. For civil, you might join AICHE. Computer science has ASACS. Yes. You should know this. Oh, well. I'll speak to him later. In any case, lots of different opportunities. We also have societies and organizations that cross the entire college. Society of Women Engineers is one that I'm a faculty advisor for, so I know about that. But there are a lot of them. You're an engineers council, aren't you? What's your problem?
Other things to do.
Oh, okay, fine, anyway. Lots of stuff that you can do. Intramural sports. In fact, Michelle, you played sports.
I did.
Okay. See, she's cooperating.
No, I do not. My freshman year, I played on the club soccer team here. How many people here played varsity sports in high school? You got some hands? Anyone want to keep playing sports in college? Anyone not want to have to do all the practices all the time and all the traveling, but still wants to play other schools like Duke and UNC and Wilmington? Sound pretty good? Well, club sports is a way to do that. You practice maybe 2 times a week, and then on the weekends you travel to other schools to play them in varsity level or higher competition. It's a great way to still be involved in a sport but not have the full commitment of varsity.
Half the marching band is engineers. There's a music and engineering link in it. The brain is strongly cross-linked. When I was here as a graduate student, I did university theater. Lots of opportunities. We talked a minute ago about villages, living and learning villages. We have a lot of living and learning villages on campus, and we are increasing the numbers every day. So when you apply for housing, you can also apply to live in a living and learning village. Admission is competitive, although not incredibly competitive. So for example, the Wise Village, we ask you to write what do you hope to get out of living in the village, and then what do you hope to contribute. And if it's reasonable, you know, if you didn't say, I really don't care, I don't want to live here, I don't know why I did this, you might not get in, but otherwise, you would get in. And the idea for WISE, women, sorry guys, women from 5 different colleges live in Lee Hall and study together. There are study groups, there are social activities, there are all kinds of different things that go on with WISE. A group of about 10 to 12 undergraduate students or freshman students has an upper class mentor that lives in the same region of the hall, and the mentor groups do things. For example, each of them has a faculty member that's linked to them. So my mentor group last Wednesday night, I went over and taught them how to make earrings, which was fun. And a little tool use going on there too. All good. We also have some enrichment programs for those that are still underrepresented in engineering. Now, NC State actually has significantly above the national average in percentage of female students, but we're not at 50-50 yet. And so as long as we're not at 50-50, we're going to have a women in engineering program. And I happen to be the director of that women in engineering program. And what we do is put on activities. Let me tell you an example of what we did this past semester. We had the Taste of Engineering, which was an evening event where all of the departments came and brought something, food or drink, related to their discipline. So textile engineering brought a cotton candy machine. Chemical engineering made dry ice punch. And industrial engineering brought a 3D printer that printed in chocolate. And we also had some industry representatives, some sponsors from industry that came, from GE and from Eaton. And we had a party. It was fun. It gave the younger students an opportunity to do some more exploring about what different departments do, and the older students an opportunity to talk to the faculty, network, pursue ideas about graduate school, how to get jobs, that kind of stuff. And although it was sponsored by the Women in Engineering program, we had a lot of guys attend too, because everything we sponsor is open to all students. So, and guys like to eat, just like girls like to eat.
And actually, there's a new village that's not up there that's going to be starting next year. And it is the Engineering Village. It is going to be a village on the top 3 floors of Metcalf. I'm know how many students, but we do have a housing representative. Would you like to come up and speak a little more on it? It's going to, go ahead, please.
Yeah, my name is Ebony. I'm the assistant director for the Tri-Tower area where the engineering village is going to be housed. We oftentimes get the question about, where do the men go? You have a women in science and engineering. And so part of this is to make it very inclusive. It's interdisciplinary for all of the engineering majors. We will house 117 students. There is a very small application process that your student, after they complete their housing application, can fill out through MyPack portal under the university housing link under living and learning villages. So I encourage all of you to apply. We'll do a variety of different things. Your E101 and E115 courses will be linked, so there'll be a smaller subset of students that you'll be able to go to class with. We'll have in-hall study groups as well as tutoring and advising that will take place in Metcalf Hall specifically for the engineering students. We'll also do some things like go on some trips and things like that. And so if you're interested, our housing booth is set up right out here around the corner. I encourage you to stop by and at a minimum, apply.
Thank you.
Some of you are interested in scholarships. Some of your parents are interested in scholarships. If you have already applied, or if you do apply next year by November 1st, then you're automatically considered for university-wide scholarships and for freshman-level engineering scholarships. We don't have as many scholarships for freshmen as we would like to have, just the way it is. On the other hand, the cost of coming to NC State is so incredibly competitive that for most of us pretty much okay. But when you get into your department, we have a lot more opportunities for scholarships. So if you don't get a scholarship your first year, don't sweat it. Come here, get good grades, and apply and get a scholarship for your second, third, fourth years. There are some departments, in fact, where every student has a scholarship. I'm pretty sure paper science and engineering is one of those. So there are multiple levels, multiple opportunities to get scholarships. And we actually have some folks out there with a scholarship booth too, if you have any additional questions about that. We want to give you an opportunity to ask any questions that you may have.